Welcome to Knowledge Valley for IAS, IFS, IPS. Today we are going to see the positives and negatives of online education. To let you know, first we have started, Knowledge Valley has started online classes for UPSC, that is IAS, IFS, IPS and other government exams at very reasonable fees. And so this is so that the people who are staying far away can reach us and get good coaching at very reasonable prices. Today in this session we are going to see what are the positives and the negative points of online coaching classes, or you can say online education. India has been under lockdown in a desperate attempt to contain the COVID-19 pandemic. Even when the lockdown gets lifted eventually, the government may not allow large congregations in restricted physical spaces, including campuses. Our focus is going to be on education in colleges and schools and other formal institutions. Universities and colleges were in the middle of the second semester of their academic when the lockdown was enforced. There was anxiety, particularly about the graduating batches of students, lest the ongoing session should be declared a zero semester. So we had seen the semester which was going on, it had to be cut down. This prompted a number of local initiatives. There were attempts from individual teachers to keep their students engaged. A few universities made arrangements for teachers to hold their classes for virtually through video conferencing such as Zoom. The transition to virtual modes was relatively less difficult for those institutions that had, even prior to the lockdown, adopted learning management system or learning management platforms. So before, whoever had this learning management platforms, for them this transition was easy. So let's see what are the positives and the negatives. We will start with the negatives or the limitations first. Strategy to enhance enrollment. So on April 13, UGC chairman was quoted that to maintain social distancing, e-education was the only way out. This was clearly meant to prepare the higher education community so that they know that future is going to be online education. And what was the message that was sent? It was sent that the online education will increase the enrollment ratio, or it will increase the number of people who get enrolled. This prompts many questions about the appropriateness of this statement or the strategy. Online education, should it be considered just a strategy during the pandemic, or is it going to be a long-term strategy? That was the question which was being asked. So many questions came up about the online education. One, how far will online education support greater access to or success in higher education? 2. How equipped these digital platforms are to support depth and diversity of learning in higher education? 3. Is there an unstated political motivation for this shift in strategy? So the UGC chairman saying that online education is the way forward. During pandemic it is fine, but will it be for the long-term strategy? So let's try answering these questions. Do these online education system have do they support greater access? Do they have the depth to have so much of diversity in learning which offline have? And is this having a political motivation to shift in the strategy? Let's go ahead and answer these questions. Higher education has an influx of students who are first generation aspirants. First generation aspirants means their parents or their grandparents, or they don't have a lineage where they have their parents or the grandparents or anyone has entered higher education. So the people who enter higher education today, or the students who enter, are first generation aspirants. They have no cultural capital to bank on while struggling their way through college. They don't have support. They need support of their parents or their relatives. Access is not merely enrollment, it also includes effective participation. So this is the second point. First point is uh, the students are first generation aspirants, no one to support. Second is effective participation is needed in curricular processes, which include negotiating through language and social barriers. There are languages and social barriers. These students are also from the other side of the digital divide. Other side of the digital divide meaning they have been normally kept out of the digital divide. They don't have proper internet access, they don't have computers, they don't have smartphones. Unless they receive consistent handholding and backstopping, they tend to remain on the margins and eventually drop out or fail. It is therefore necessary to think deeply and gather research-based evidence on the extents on which online education can be deployed. So three important points we have seen. First point is they are the first generation aspirants. Second point is we do not know if these online education will back the depth and the diversity. And the third point is the students need hand-holding and backstopping. They need help because they are from the other side of the digital divide. So three important points we have seen. Let's see what learning involves. Acquisition of given knowledge that can be transmitted didactically by the teacher or a text constitutes only one minor segment. What this sentence means is whenever there is an interaction between teacher and a student regarding a portion, that is just one area or one segment of knowledge. Is this the only reason that we go to college? The answer is no. It is a segment that is largely followed in online and digital forms of transaction. So when you have an online and digital forms, only this will be done. That is, the teacher will be giving knowledge through books and the student will be taking that knowledge. But is it the exact knowledge that is it the motive of education? But learning in higher education means much more than this. It is much more. It involves development of analytical skills and other intellectual skills. The ability to critically deconstruct and even evaluate given knowledge, and to create, and the creativity to make new connections and synthesis. It also means acquire practical skills, seek solution to complex problems, and learn to work in teams. So education is not just to finish the portion and to do the syllabus which are there in textbooks. It is to develop analytical and other intellectual skills, to critically analyze, to create connections, practical skills, learn teamwork. All these assume direct human engagement. So online cannot give all these things. Direct human engagement is needed. Not just to teacher-student interaction, but also peer interactions is needed. Deconstructing given knowledge in relative isolation is never the same as doing it in a group. So group studies, interaction, peer interaction, all these are needed. Some of this can to some extent be built on digital platform, but innovation is needed, hard work is needed, curriculum knowledge is needed, strategies are needed. So this can be created in the digital platform. So we in Knowledge Valley try to inculcate this through our digital platforms. But curricular knowledge has a tendency to adjust to its own contours according to the mode of transaction and the focus of evaluation. Though curricular knowledge, yes, it can be given through various platforms and it does adjust. So we can adjust these things according to the online, but online is not, according to the author, the online is not the only way to go ahead if you have to build the other aspects. It gets collapsed into largely information based. If it will just fall into information based if when transacted to standard structures of teaching, examination and teaching, learning and examination. While digital platforms of learning have the potential to enable students to pursue independent learning, conventional and digital forms of education should not be considered mutually exclusive. It should not be the only thing. It should be mixed with both digital as well as, you can say, the offline classes or offline college. Online learning needs to be understood as one strand in the complex tapestry of the curriculum. So it can't be the only thing. It needs to be with the social learning. It needs to be with direct human engagement. Now we are going to see open and distance learning. There was something in the 1960s called as open and distance learning, which is even present today. You must have heard about the IGNOU, which gives open and distance learning. So what was the advantages? What was the result of this open and distance learning? It will help you to understand better about online learning. It was the open and distance learning started in mid 1960s to 1980s, were a consequence of less expensive model for provision of higher education. So it was less expensive, no much infrastructure. Even the students had to pay less fees, which you must have also known if you apply to IGNOU. ODL may also have been considered by governments at that time as a safe strategy in the light of the instances of campus turbulence for managing mass aspirations for higher education without necessarily affecting large congregations. One wonders whether there is similar motivation behind the enthusiasm for online education. So what the writer, who is Shyam Menon, he's a professor at the Central Institute of Education, CIE, University of Delhi, and former Vice Chancellor of Ambedkar University, Delhi. What he is trying to say, with the same motive or with the same motivation which was there during the time of open and distance learning, is it the same which is there today? If that is the case, then like the open and distance learning, even the online learning is going to be put in scrap. Okay, so, and it is not going to be of any help to the students. So this is all the limitations. So we saw a limitation in the curriculum, we saw limitation in the digital divide, we saw limitations in the infrastructure, we saw limitations in direct human, the positives of the direct human contact and the social learning. So we saw these and we compared it with the open and distance learning. Okay, next we are going to see what are the positive points of online distance learning. In the wake of pandemic, other countries have embraced online education with a mixed enthusiasm. Many universities in UK and United States have announced that the coming academic year will be held mainly online. At the same time, educationists and policymakers advise caution. Online education has not lived up to its potential. So we are going to start the positive with some tinge of pessimism or negativity. In India, whereas we have seen in UK and USA, they have gone online. In India, there is a mixed response. Indian education system has a very heterogeneous response to the pandemic. It shows the rural and urban divide. There will surely be serious implications on considering the scale of social, political and economic changes that have occurred in the recent past. Online education using MOOCs or massive open online classrooms has been encouraged by the Ministry of Human Resource and Development for some time now. via the National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. Just remember, massive open online classrooms via National Program for Technology Enhanced Learning, and SWAYAM. Now, SWAYAM is an acronym for Study Webs of Active Learning for Young Aspiring Minds. Study Webs of Active Learning for Young Aspiring Minds. So SWAYAM and NPTEL, SWAYAM and NPTEL are massive open online classrooms. Now, why are these massive open online classrooms so important? You must remember, it helps in cheap, or you can say efficient, cheap learning. It brings equality. It helps, it gives opportunity to many students. If this is to make a serious difference, both quality and quantity of online course need to be enhanced. These are presently used to augment classrooms instructions, but if these can be taken for credit, it may help address the question of access to quality education. Now, these portals, that is the massive online open courses, these portals will have, they can reach to many people, those people who couldn't get proper education due to various reasons. One major being the money, second being the space or the place where it was. So these portals can help education reach many students, but the quality needs to be increased, the access needs to be better, infrastructure needs to be given. There is positive aspect or even a partial move to online education. Making lectures available online in public and open websites accelerates democratization of knowledge and wide distribution of learning opportunities. So making these available online so that everybody can access to it accelerates democratization of knowledge and wide distribution of learning opportunities. So we know knowledge is power, and currently knowledge has been only the priority, or it had been the prerogative of the rich, the powerful. Now this needs to democratize, and that is why online learning will help. So this is the positive. An opportunity to change. There is a chance to reimagine higher education in India. For long, higher education has been the prerogative, as I have just told you, or it has been elitist and exclusionary. Education has less been about learning and more about degrees. So it was education was mostly about degrees. Education was mostly for the elitist. So online education can change on all this. Our higher education can become more exclusive if going online loses the human touch. The advantage is it will reach many more people. So it is worth the trade. If giving proctored examination in a social distancing world is more difficult, what needs to change is not social distancing, but examination. The rote learning, the system is all exam oriented. Now we need to change that. There are simpler ways of evaluating how the student has done. Gandhiji's Nai Talim puts high premium on self-study and experiential learning. So it's very, very important to know these things, and online studies gives you. So we just discussed what was the negative points of online studies. So we are now seeing how you can see it in a other way. So self-study and experiential learning is the way to go. That is the Nai Talim. Significant qualitative changes can come if we plan to do things like artificial intelligence can be used for online studies. It can be adapted to deliver personalized instruction on learning needs for each student. The use of artificial intelligence can improve learning outcome. In particular, this can be a boon to teaching students who are differently abled. So when we see the massive open schools that we have, that portals that we have like SWAYAM and NPTEL and all the students are seen in the same manner because the number of students are very large. So one teacher can't cater to many students. Artificial intelligence can be used in this case, and it will also help the differently able students. Okay, so we saw online education brings inclusiveness. Online education removes the rote learning. Artificial intelligence helps personalize the studies. So all that, these are the benefits. So what is the way forward? The adoption of online education should be done with sensitivity. It should be sensitive. What is needed at the moment is a commitment to decentralized in education. So decentralization is needed in education. Material must be in various national languages. This will attend access and help overcome staff shortages that plague remote institutions. The state will have to bear much of the responsibility, both to improve infrastructure and to ensure that every student has to access a laptop or a smartphone. So way forward we are seeing. So we have seen what are the negatives, we see what are the positives. Now what is the way forward? So way forward is it should be more sensitive. Education should be allowing having more languages. It should be more inclusive, decentralized, and the state should see to it that it supports this online studies. Campuses across India are desolate now, empty, inactive. Estimates are that COVID-19 will be seasonal, recurring every so often till 2022 or maybe 2024. So when these institutions reopen, they must do so with extreme caution. Blended modes of education will be unavoidable. Online instructions wherever possible, and limited contact for laboratory instruction and individual mentoring. If this can lead to emergence of new pedagogic paradigm, we would have made the sweetest use of adversity. Thus, as it is said, adversity is the mother of all inventions. We can have a hybrid model, and in long term not only take online, even mix it with offline, and we can make use of the best so that we can have the education reach all the sections and remove all the barriers for efficient, effective, affordable, quality education. Thank you. And as you have as we have seen the importance of online education, I hope you will be able to take some of the methods which we follow in our knowledge valley, and also check how we do it. Okay, thank you and have a nice year. Remember, the art and science of asking questions is the source of all knowledge.